Good morning, people. I kind of came across this today. Somebody suggested it to me. I'd gone into a chat and I was typing my normal stuff up as silence is consent and yada yada yada, and how people don't realise that their tax dollars are paying for their own extermination and all the rest of it. And I turned around and I says, humanity is nothing but a virus on this earth. You know, Earth is a petri dish and we are the virus. And somebody dropped the word, or they pretty much addressed it to me and said to check out WETIKO. Now, I don't know if I'm butchering the way that is supposedly said or what, I don't know, but I will go with how it's spelt. WETIKO, the virus of selfishness according to Native Americans. And I thought this was good to put up, even though I don't have the time to make videos this morning, but considering what's going on at the moment around us all, you know, and I don't talk about, you guys know, I don't talk about just the dirt that I stand on. It's the dirt that all of us as humans stand on. Hang on a minute. It refuses to move. Where are we? According to Native Americans, WETIKO is an evil spirit that invades human minds. It's a virus of selfishness, a psychic pathogen forcing the victim to feed their insatiable needs as if they were starving. It makes humanity become its own worst enemy. This interesting yet unsettling view comes from a piece of literature we think everybody should read. Well, they suggest you go read Paul Levi and Carl Jung and whatever, but I suggest that you go back to where it all came from, which is the Cree Indians. But either or, okay, either or, because it looks like it makes sense, okay, to a certain degree. This interesting yet unsettling view comes from a piece of literature we think everyone should read. Paul Levi is an admirer, Carl Jung's legacy, and a regular columnist for The Guardian. He wrote a literature piece titled Dispelling WETIKO that deserves some reflection. Levi says that we live in an era where most psychosocial phenomena proves the existence of a virus of selfishness. WETIKO is a word that Native Americans use to designate an evil person who never worries about the well-being of others. The legacy Levi wished to leave with his book is not at all negative, reproachful, or alarming. It actually has the opposite message. Every virus seeks a host to invade and feed off of. However, each of us can put up defensive barriers. We can strengthen our psychological immune system to keep from being infected by selfishness. WETIKO, human selfishness, and Carl Jung's concept of a shadow. Jack Forbes is a historian who explains something very interesting in his book Columbus and Other Cannibals. When indigenous communities came into contact with the first European pilgrims, the Native Americans said they were infected by WETIKO. It was a tribe of the Cree in Canada who used this concept for the first time. However, I'll say it, Ohua, I don't know, I've probably butchered it, but anyway, for example, already we're using the well-known term Wendigo. Whatever the case, the mental concept they had of the white or civilized man was that an individual affected by the virus of selfishness. The virus led them to desire the force of nature and its resources as their own. In turn, Paul Levi explains that this idea is the very same one Carl Jung used to explain the concept of shadow. Shadow is the archetype of the unconscious that we all share. Thus, common things like jealousy, greed, thirst for power, and selfishness are actually products of our collective unconscious, our darkest shadows, and a self which has become dissociated from the conscience, a being that lets itself get carried away by despicable acts. Therefore, we could say that the evil spirit defined by the Native Americans is different from Jung's idea. It wasn't something that came from the external world bent on possessing us. Instead, it resides within us. Actually, we all carry that shadow within, but it's up to us whether we give it power. How to kill the virus of selfishness. You can eliminate the virus of selfishness from your life. One way is by getting to know what Carl Jung called demon, the demon of our shadow. It feeds off of greed, envy, contempt, and the thirst for power or domination. These things have done terrible things to mankind throughout history. The evil of WETIKO has governed our world for quite some time. We give it power, we obey it, and we let ourselves get carried away by it. Like Jung explained, our responsibility is to be aware of it. If we let ourselves be controlled by these impulses to possess what another person has and manipulate them for our own benefit, even at the cost of harming them, we'll form into a collective psychosis where we would all end up losing. Selfishness is not a modern evil. It's an old illness we still haven't managed to eradicate. Paul Levi enlightens us by explaining that we need reflect if we want to work on our shadow and kill our WETIKO. The end of the day, that inner demon is nothing more than our undeveloped, unworked, neglected personality. It's a part of ourselves we're hiding. By hiding it, we allow it to go out alone in search of nourishment. We'll let it feed off greed and envy. No more. Heal from the virus of selfishness by working on your inner struggles, growing as a person, and dealing with the shadow hindering you and humanity from living life to the fullest. Is this not something, people, that I was saying, if you want to make a change, if you want to see a change, you got to start with yourself. You got to look in the mirror. You got to start with yourself. How can we ever change? And a good example, I was on somebody's chat last night. They asked me to come up. And I asked them, do you want me to be nice or do you want me to be honest? Because we were talking about the situation of Iran and America. And I literally I went up on the panel, but I had to leave. I did not want to be a part of what was said. Now, whether it be a joke or whatever, but what I was seeing was this, okay? It was a definitely what I just read off this page here. No matter what, and this is not just talking about that person, but basically majority of the useless eaters. Whatever we have been programmed to believe, regardless whether it's bullshit or not, we are so pre-programmed to defend. We have been pre-programmed by governments that no matter what they do, that you defend. It's ours. We're the best, it's ours. We want. I want. Doesn't matter whether it belongs to somebody else or not. Which is pretty much what, right here, what this tells you. Let me go down and find that part. Whether it's ours or not, where is it? And this explains. It kind of explains, like I says, I would personally go and look up here, this in itself, it says it all. This in itself says it all. If we let ourselves be controlled by these impulses to possess what other person has and manipulate them for our own benefit, even at the cost of harming them, is that not what we do on a daily basis? Is that not what the governments tell everybody to do? We'll fall into a collective psychosis where we would all end up losing. I mean, how long has this been going on? Is this not obvious to people? At what point do we wake up and say enough is enough? I'm going to think for myself, and what I'm seeing makes no sense to me, therefore I will not follow. At what point? I mean, the other day I was in somebody else's chat, and I was watching the chat and I was listening to people talking, and somebody turned around and said in the chat, okay, that was from one country, and from the States basically, and it was being talked about the oil in Iraq, and this person comes out and says, our oil. Oh dear God. I couldn't get over it. I thought, it's not even on your turf, but you're classing it as your oil. You want oil? Buy it. Don't steal it. You want something else? Buy it. Don't steal it. So, if you want to see a change, people, you want to see a change, you got to look at yourself. Assume responsibility of what comes out of your mouth. Assume responsibility of what comes out of your mouth. Take a second or two to think about what you're saying before you say it. But look at yourself. What is it? What is it that makes you want to go somewhere else and manipulate and impose sanctions, whatever the fuck it is that society does today, that the governments do today to people, whatever the fuck it is, call it whatever you want. What gives you the right? And we all follow, we all follow. Like I said, the government comes along and it drops an idea, or it drops a person, or it creates an event, and the useless leader picks it up and runs with it, regardless of whether it's bullshit or not. And we say that we're not pre-programmed. You run with it. You don't stop to think about it and go, hang on a fucking minute. Don't look at the chunk of dirt underneath your feet. Look at the bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture. Humanity has turned on itself because of its own stupidity. Because of its own stupidity. Because it believes what it is being told. Again, I'm going to remind you, the Georgia Guidestones. How do you think that's going to happen? It's not how. It has been happening. You get told bullshit, an event is created, and you defend. We are right no matter what. You don't think for yourself. Stop and think for yourself. Take a minute. Take a minute before you go do somebody else's dirty work. Before you allow your children to go do somebody else's dirty work. Humanity is killing itself off because it's stupid enough to believe, pre-programmed enough to believe what it's being told, that we're all enemies of each other. So how is that number on the Georgia Guidestones how's it going to get to that number? We're doing it. We're doing it. Country after country after country after country via wars. We're doing it. We are doing it. They are not doing it. They just gave you the person or the event or the idea. And we just pick it up and we fucking run with it without ever questioning. Without being invaded, without being whatever, we just fucking run with it. That's how pathetic we all are. We want change, but nobody wants to change, We want change, but nobody wants to change. Nobody wants to stand there and look in the mirror and go, am I a hateful fuck? Why am I hating these people? Why? What have they done personally to me? Fuck. Ask yourself, am I going after these people? Am I going to steal something that somebody else has for my own benefit because it's my choice fully? I need that, whether it's oil, whatever the case it is. Or are you being that kind of a human being because of somebody else's idea, person, or event that has been dropped in the middle of society, in the middle of humanity? These are the things that you need to start waking up to, people. Don't just accept what you're being told. We're not living in those times anymore. This is 2020. It's time to wake the fuck up on a big fucking scale before it's too late for any of us. Before it's too late for any of us. And another thing too, I'm a great believer, as you people know, I'm a great believer in karma. Society likes to make up different categories. Society loves to name shit because once they name it, they can medicate it, okay? They can medicate it. For example, if we're going on a universal law, because that's what we are, okay? We're a part of the universe, so we need to forget about government laws, we need to forget about the earthly laws. We need to stop and think about universal laws, okay? Universal laws. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, is a group of stress reactions that can develop after we witness a traumatic event such as death, serious injury, or sexual violence to ourselves or to others. PTSD can happen after we've been through one traumatic event or after repeated exposure to trauma. And I can swing this over to here, and we can read it here some more. A disorder characterized by failure to recover after experience or witnessing a terrifying event. The condition may last for months or years with triggers that can bring back memories of the trauma accompanied by intense emotional and physical reactions. Symptoms may include nightmares, flashbacks, avoidance of situations that bring back the trauma, heightened reactivity to stimuli, anxiety, or depressed mood. Do you ever stop to think? Do you ever stop to think that if you've been told that you suffer that, and don't jump on my ass telling me I don't understand, I don't get it, whatever. All I'm doing is trying to wake people up. When it comes to assuming your responsibility of shit that comes out of your mouth and the responsibility of your own actions, because we all have choices, okay? We all have choices. Do you ever stop to think that people go through that because of the choices they made? Do you think it might be karma? Do you think it might be karma that happens according to universal law, that when you kill another living thing, that you accumulate karma? Society will call it something different. Society, like I said, loves to fucking name shit. Why? Because they can medicate. They can medicate. And you may have been thinking at the time that you were doing the right thing based on the bullshit that you were told. I get that. But at some point, You would have looked at the situation and gone, this is fucked up. This is fucked up. But you continue. You continue. Why? Because society is pre-programmed. Like I said, you've got to defend. You've got to defend that government. You've got to defend that hierarchy bullshit that spun you a whole heap of fucking shit, that told you that you were entitled to take something that belongs to somebody else. At what point, people, do you stop doing somebody else's dirty work? At what point? At what point do we stop killing each other off, making the Georgia Guidestones real? Like I said, they ain't gonna do it. They're getting you to do it, and you've been doing it year after year after year after year. It is selfishness. It is selfishness. Because we all want to think we're right. We all want to think that that is ours, even though it's not. Joe can't have it because I've got it. Therefore, he can't have it. What gives any of us the right to decide how your next door neighbour should live compared to you? What right? You don't have that right. These are the things that people need to look in the mirror and ask themselves. What sort of a human being do I want to be? What sort of a human being am I? We bitch and complain, and I've said it before, about refugees. We don't want them, but you fucking go ahead and create them. How stupid is that? Just think about that for a minute. You don't want something, but you go ahead and you create it. How stupid is that? It shows you how little people think below the surface of shit. But anyway, I don't have a lot of time here, and I did go on an awesome fucking rant after the first part of this video. Unfortunately, the timer ran out, and I didn't see it, and I kept on going for a rant, and then I looked up and I thought, oh, you've got to be kidding me. But anyway, I added this bit just to kind of, I don't know, do a summary of sorts, and also to tell you guys, after the last live stream, I did get an email saying that I had gone over and I don't have any time left to do live streams until the 31st of January. So I won't be live streaming obviously until then, well, at least not on YouTube, because that's where I use StreamYards. So if you do want to find me, I may over the next couple of days pop onto DLive to just play some music, whatever, shoot the shit as we normally do over there. But as for doing live streams on YouTube, because I don't pay for the program, and I will not pay for the program because I don't pay for squat on the internet, I won't be doing a StreamYard live stream till the 31st of January. I guess that's just another thing when you stop and look at it. It's another money thing. It's another control thing. It's just another fucking rule. Just another rule. See, earthly rules hinder our freedom. They hinder our progress. Universal law is what you need to worry about. Because if you don't do the right thing, if you don't make the effort to do the right thing, that bitch is gonna kick your motherfucking ass from here to Sunday. If you don't think that it does, stop and think about different situations, and we've all had them in life. Stop and think about those situations that you went through when you were asking yourself, fucking why? Why me? Ask yourself, did you at any point, I don't know, walk past somebody that might have been hungry and you never took the time out to stop? Did you kick a dog somewhere? Did you whatever? Did you do harm to somebody else? Did you say something nasty to somebody else? Think about that shit, people. Stand in front of the mirror and analyze yourself before trying to sort somebody else out, somebody that you have no idea, not a fucking clue as to who they are, how they feel, what they think on a daily basis. The only thing that you know about somebody else is what you're being told. That's it. And that ain't always the truth. On that note, people, have a good day, good night, wherever you are, and I will catch you guys on the motherfucking flip side.